What's up, everyone? Welcome back to ESPN Esports. I'm your host, Daniel J. Collette, and I'm joined in the studio today by my friend Sajam. We're talking Capcom Cup 2019. It's coming up this weekend. Going to be a really exciting event. Street Fighter World Finals are going to crown the champion of this year's Capcom Cup circuit. So it's been kind of a crazy year so far. What do you think were some of the key moments that are going to be kind of setting the stage for the competition this weekend?
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't watch fighting games frequently, my recommendation is always the same. Check out EVO, right? That's the big one that, if you don't know much about it, it's the big show every year where everybody gathers up and there's always this massive tournament that, happens. It's usually the most entered event and it's usually the biggest spectacle. So I can always recommend EVO as a good place to start. And fortunately on the Capcom Pro Tour, it's a super premiere, right? So normally there are ranking events and then there's premiere events and then super premiere, and there's three of those super premieres for the year. The first one is EVO that happens, and I think for a lot of people that's the big event to watch. And we've brought up Bonchan a lot as a player to watch going into Capcom Cup. And his performance there is just incredible. It's spectacular, and it's just a really fun top 8 to watch in general. You'll see a lot of the players that are qualified for this tournament this weekend anyway, so you can get kind of an idea. In fact, I think every single player in that top 8 is qualified for Capcom Cup. So that's going to be good to watch. And the other two super premieres I would recommend as well. Tokyo Game Show in Japan was fantastic, really, really fun to watch. And that's a tournament where Bonchan himself actually didn't do that well. So it's you watch Bonchan crush it at EVO and then kind of have a weaker performance at an event like that. And you get to watch that where Momochi performed fantastically. It was a really, really interesting event to watch. And then the last super premiere of the North America Regional Final, which is the last tournament that just happened right before Capcom Cup. And I think it's your best preview of what does the competition look like right before Capcom Cup? It's kind of a little mini preview of what to expect there, and everybody was there. It was such a stacked tournament and a really fun one to watch. So I think those super premieres are the big 3 that you should probably tune into and check out. And if you missed anything else throughout the year, those are kind of the little time capsules of where we were in those moments throughout 2019.
So looking back on the year of Street Fighter, there's been a lot of talk about the current state of the game. We're now 4 years into it. Some say it's the best version of Street Fighter V that we've had so far. How do you feel about the current balance of the game?
I think currently in the game, there are very, very strong characters. But overall, I think that the cast of characters is very close to being where they should be. There are some characters that could use some love, obviously, and that's always going to be the case. But despite how strong the top characters are, I don't think that they're so overwhelming that it's impossible to perform with other characters. So that's, I think, currently where we're at in the game. It's sort of natural to see the most popular characters at the top played a lot, and you're going to see a lot of them at Capcom Cup. You'll see a lot of Karen and Rashid and Akuma and Ibuki, right? Those are characters that are going to be very popular, but currently where we are right now, I think most of the characters that are good are powerful, but not in a way that I find egregious, So I think it's currently in a good spot.
One character that a lot of people have been talking about this year is G.
Yes.
Really explosive character, has the potential to do just a ton of damage off of anything, really.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on G? Do you think he really is that strong? Or is it more about the players using him and the play styles that they have?
Well, on that topic, I love the video that Rob TV put out recently where he had the tear, I don't know what he got. I'm assuming it was an eye drop bottle, and he had the fake tears coming down. He's I'd be out here losing a G. He grabs me and I die. It was such a fantastic video. But yeah, I mean, G is a really, really good character. He's one of those characters that I think when things are going well, he is as good as any of the best characters in the game. The issue I have with him is that which is good, is that he is inconsistent. He's a little volatile, and to win with the character, I don't think he is the most consistent character in the game. I think he sort of struggles on defense, and he has to commit a little big on his offense sometimes because he has to commit to a command throw to, kind of mix you up. So I think G is a character that's not the most stable at a high level, but he has a very high chance to rob you. He is one of the highest chance characters in the game to get one hit, and it's just oh no.
It's totally melt you.
It's the beginning of the end. You're just oh, this is it. He's going to hit him into the corner. He's got to, you'll hear the phrase guess for game all the time when that character's on the screen. He is extremely good. And I think that he is just below being way too problematic, right? He's maybe a little better than he needs to be right now, but he is not quite at the level where it's this character needs to get out of here. Get him out of here. I can't stand him. So thankfully, he is not the most consistent character, even in very capable hands, which I think is good, right? Because a character design like that, by its nature being kind of topsy-turvy, you can't have him be the best, right? Otherwise, it's just people getting robbed and, flipping consoles and, poor Rob TV, you got to pour one out for him. So yeah, I think where he's at right now, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with Street Fighter V being known as a game where consistency is so key, and you look at a character like that who really has some of the weakest defense options in the game and really just requires that like perfect opportunity to actually do what he's meant to do. I think he's a strong character, but I don't know if he really deserves all the hate that he's getting coming into this.
Yeah, I mean the characters above him are just like they do what he does best, but like more consistently, right? So like maybe their chance to steal around isn't as high, but like their chance to build the lead and like the reason G is robbing other characters is because those other characters are beating him up, right? Like he's got to get beat up by someone. So that's the thing is like you look at your Karens and your like Rashids and like these really, really strong characters and Akuma and stuff, and you're like, okay, well these characters are stable and powerful and good, just like really well rounded. And G, on the other hand, is one of those characters that those characters will beat up, and then he's like that kid that like, you know, you bullied, and then he turns out to be the CEO. He just like appears out of nowhere and is like, ha! And it's just like the lunge punch into V-trigger into death. So yeah, he's definitely one of those characters that not quite as stable as like those top 5, 6, 7 characters, but he's like right under it.
So obviously, you know, every year Capcom Cup, we've got sort of Capcom always likes to give a little preview of what's coming next year, and you know, next year looking at what might be maybe the final year of Street Fighter V. What kinds of announcements are you looking forward to? I know they've already shown off the Street Fighter V Champion Edition with Gil in it, but you know, we can assume that there's a little bit more that's going to be shown. What kinds of stuff would you like to see added in Season 5?
Yeah, I was honestly like shocked by the Gil announcement. Like he showed up and he's just like waving his arms around, and like the voice acting was Liam O'Brien, and he crushed it. Like it's
Great performance, yeah.
I cannot believe how good and menacing the voice was for that character. Especially like the critical art at the end is like it's unbelievable.
The animation is like out of control.
Yeah, like
he's
he's just like fading into oblivion with like this background. Like it's so cool. But after seeing that announcement, I actually don't know who to expect for the last character. There's like lots of talks about who it will be or anything like that. To me, like I'm not so big on like it has to be this character, it has to be that character. As long as it's a character that comes back and is like a really interesting design, which I expect him to do some old character like Oro or Viper or like Seth or like whoever comes back, like I expect it to be some character like that, but I just want to see the cool redesigns. And I feel like the characters they always do best are characters where they're like, how can we bring this character back but new, right? Like how can we make them the fun character you remember from before, but with some new tricks and stuff that makes them interesting. So lately, I think the announcements have been really cool. I liked all 3 characters that they announced at EVO. Honda, Lucia, and Poison I think are really, really fun to play, all 3 of them. So I'm really hoping that that is the case for Gil and whoever they announce next. But as far as like features and stuff, this is very, I think, expected for me. I would love the netcode to be adjusted. I think everybody knows.
Everyone would kind of like the netcode to be adjusted, just
like
a little bit.
Small changes. You know, you just got to do a Hail Mary to the GGPO gods and just hope that there is a little adjustment on the netcode.
Just give us a little divine intervention with a GGPO.
Just have Gil come in and like do his, you know, critical R, and then like it's just he spreads the wings and that's it.
Yeah, and then the netcode's great.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot to look forward to this weekend. It's going to be a really exciting event, and you can watch all of it on twitch.tv/CapcomFighters. Definitely let us know in the comments who your favorite is to win it this year, and what types of features or characters you'd like to see added into the game and announced this weekend. And for more Capcom Cup coverage, stay tuned to all of our social media channels on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll have coverage of the event all weekend long. And be sure to definitely as well tune into the ESPN official Capcom Cup pre-show. That's going to be Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific on both days. But that's it for us. I've been your host, Daniel J. Collette, joined by my friend Sajam, and we will see you at Capcom Cup 2019.